Chapter 6. Revelation.
Lisa is being rushed to the emergency room. Her stretcher is flanked by medical as well as NYPD personnel. As they speed through the crowded hallway, they pass Nancy, who is having her head stitched up in one of the examination rooms. Move. Clear the hallway. Get out of the way. An elderly man has been watching all the commotion. He approaches one of the orderlies. Young man, what's going on with the parking garage? I had to use the stairs today. There were no parking spaces. Oh, that's because the lower level is closed. They are actually expanding, adding municipal parking. There's a lot of construction going on. Suddenly there is a loud scream coming from one of the examination rooms. Do they always scream like that? He asked. Only when they get the bill, the orderly laughs. The old man doesn't think it's funny. Lisa finally reaches her destination, St. Mary's Intensive Care Unit. Move her onto the table, quickly. The doctor cuts open Lisa's shirt to reveal a bulletproof vest, and everyone breathes a sigh of relief. Upon removing her vest, severe bruising can be seen around her chest and abdominal area, but she appears to be stable. Then, without warning, Lisa violently convulses, thrashing her body wildly. Medical personnel try to restrain her, then she suddenly stops. Her body falls lifeless onto the examination table. She coughs up a spat of blood and then her heart stops. Doctor, she's not breathing. She's going into cardiac arrest. CPR is immediately administered, then the doctor calls for the defibrillator. Charge. Clear. Nothing happens. Again. Clear. Nothing happens. Everything slows down. The doctor tries it one more time. Nothing. The nurse looks at the doctor and shakes her head. Note the time of death, 7:23 p.m. Notify the doctor. There is a pulse. It's late, but the lights are still on at the Ludwig Institute for Dream Research. Dr. Ludwig is watching the news, as reports of Dennis activities begin to dominate the headlines. Police are searching tonight for a man who they believe is responsible for the deaths of several people, the possible disappearance of another, and the decapitation of a corpse. If you see this man, police are urging you to call 1-888 hot tips. That's 1-888 hot tips. There's a reward for any information that leads to an arrest and conviction. In other news, a building under renovation collapsed today. Dr. Ludwig's assistant enters the room. Doctor, this is starting to get out of hand. Has either of them reported in yet? No. Should we call the police? I mean, we know where he is. And tell them what? That the serial killer currently terrorizing the city works for us, and oh, by the way, once you capture him, can you please return the $100 million mind-altering device implanted in his brain? No, I don't think so. You're going to have to bring him back here. Dead or alive. Make sure you get his journal and anything else that could trace him back to this institute. Have I made myself clear? His assistant takes out his 9mm handgun and checks the clip and chamber. I understand. What about the other one? I'll take care of him. Lisa, with gun drawn, searches Dennis' apartment, but this time, there is a thick mist permeating throughout. On the walls, foreboding messages written in blood. Lisa makes her way to the last room. A red light seeps through the cracked door. She pushes it open to see her brother Corey, hanging from the ceiling, hooks in his shoulder blades, both arms removed. "Lisa, help me. Help me, Lisa, please. Lisa. Lisa." She stands there in shock, looking up at her brother. She can't move. Dennis walks up from behind and begins to choke her. Nancy, who has spent the last 24 hours by Lisa's side, is sleeping in a chair in her recovery room. She is awakened by the sound of someone choking. She looks toward the bed, and Lisa appears to be having a seizure. She jumps up and immediately tries to wake her. "Lisa, Lisa! Wake up, wake up! You're having a bad dream, wake up!" Lisa screams, "Corey!" She abruptly sits up and tries to catch her breath. She removes the IV, oxygen, and diagnostic feeds and gets out of bed. Nancy tries to stop her. "What are you doing?" "I have to go home." "But you almost died yesterday." "My brother needs me." "You can stay here if you want." "I'm going." The two head back to Lisa's apartment. Meanwhile, Dennis returns to his makeshift examination room. He goes to the trunk of his car and removes a body bag. He hoists the weighty contents onto his shoulders, then goes inside. Inside the body bag, the female occupant is wearing the same waitress uniform as Jessica Raymond and the woman at the morgue. She begins to struggle, but her hands are bound, and her mouth is taped. Dennis takes out a syringe and injects her with something that renders her unconscious. He turns the woman onto her stomach, takes out a pair of scissors and cuts the back of her dress open. He pulls down two side-shaped blades attached to a pulley in the ceiling. He thrusts the blades into her back and lifts her into the air. He removes her dress and turns on the embalming machine. He inserts metal tubes into each thigh and activates the pump, sending the preserving fluid into her body. He then takes out a wax pen and outlines the area he will cut next, the joints, where the upper thigh and crotch area meet. As he readies his saw, the sound of a car engine steals his attention, the vehicle's high beams flashing beneath his door. He turns out the lights. Dr. Ludwig's assistant, with a tracking device in one hand and a flashlight in the other, slowly approaches the front of the storage unit. He knocks on the door, but there is no answer. He takes out his gun and walks to the back of the small building. There is a ladder leading to the roof. He climbs up. In the center of the building, there is a hinged skylight with opaque glass. The opening is large enough for a person to crawl through. He raises the lid but only sees darkness. He leans in with the flashlight and starts to pan around the room. As he completes a half circle, the beam of the flashlight passes what appears to be a mannequin. By the time he returns to that spot, it is too late. The mannequin is moving. The last thing he sees is a flash of light caused by blunt force trauma to the head. The rest of his body is pulled into the small opening. The skylight slams shut. The assistant is now tied to a chair. His pants are removed, and there is a gash in his forehead. Blood from the wound covers his face and shirt, as he rocks back and forth in pain. "I recognize you from the Institute. You're Dr. Ludwig's assistant, aren't you?" Dennis pulls up a chair. He takes out the tracking device and points to the blinking indicator on the screen. "That's me." Now, that part is painfully obvious. The part that's not so obvious is, where is the transmitter? If I had to guess, I'd say it was in my head. Is that why I keep getting these migraines? Why I've developed this appendage on the back of my neck? Why would the good doctor put a tracker in my head? What's really going on at the Ludwig Institute for Dream Research? Dr. Ludwig's assistant does not respond. I see you're the strong silent type, and I can respect that, really, but I do get the sense that I'm running out of time here. I need some answers now. Maybe this will jog your memory. Dennis gets up, walks over to the table and brings back a scalpel. He then rips open the man's shirt. He hovers the scalpel over the right nipple, and with the flick of his wrist slices off the man's areola. It happens so fast, the body can't register what has just taken place, but after a few seconds, blood rushes to the raw area, and the man lets out a chilling scream. Dennis continues his questioning. I didn't want to do that. I really didn't want to do that, but I had to get your attention. Now, what is this inside my head, and how do I get it out? Disoriented, the man begins to laugh and teeter back and forth in pain. The Institute is a front for a splinter group backed by the military's Covert Weapons Division. These guys work in psychic phenomena, telekinesis, and all that weird shit. That's not a GPS transmitter in your head, it's a thought transference device. They can see inside your brain. Man, whatever you see, the receiver sees. Only Dr. Ludwig can turn it off. Bullshit. It's not, it's all true. But something went wrong, you started killing people. Killing people. I am restoring life. A life that was taken from me much too soon. Who's looking inside my head? Dennis spreads his legs and hovers the scalpel over his genitals. I don't know who he is. A guy, just like you, who signed up for that bullshit medical trial. He has one of those things in his head too, only his is the receiver. He sees what you see. Listen to me, I can help you, I can take you to the doctor. He'll take it out. Dennis suddenly stands up and grabs his head in pain. The sound of his foster mother's voice slowly comes into focus. Dennis, don't let them take it out. If they remove it, it will kill me. Don't let them kill me. No. Dennis yells as he staggers backward. He removes one of the metal tubes from the thigh of the woman hanging from his ceiling, and plunges it into the open hole in the man's chest. It takes some effort, but he manages to wedge it in. He goes into shock as his mouth slowly gapes open. Dennis then walks over to the embalming machine. Wait, what are you doing? I have a doctor's appointment. Dennis turns on the machine.